Hi, everyone. Hello. It's Tracy at TierraCast. Feels like it's been a little while since we've done a live stream. I took a couple of weeks off because we had some other stuff going on that I just had to take care of and didn't really have time to produce any how-to videos for you guys, but we're back. And I kind of went back into the archives for this demonstration. There's no reason for the inspiration. I just kind of scrolled through what we had on the website and I thought, what would people like to see? And so what I chose is what we call our Indulgence bracelet. And this goes back to I think 2015 was when we put out our Dulce Vita collection. Hello, Karen. Thank you for popping in. I'm going to put a link to that. Well, first of all, the link to the projects are always in the description of the video. So that inspiration page on our website always has the good morning, Cindy Hamilton from the East Bay. I'm assuming you're the East San Francisco Bay, so you're practically local. Nice to see you. Hi, Cindy Bolton Lynch. What was I saying? Let's see if I can backtrack before I got sidetracked saying hello to people. Dulce Vita collection was, I know. I'll get there, guys. I was talking about the inspiration pages on the website. I always include a link to the project I'm demonstrating in the description. And if you go to that page on our website, then you will have a part list and downloadable instructions and all the info you need to take this project and make it your own, which is really what we want. We love to give you guys designs and inspiration, but really we want you to use that to take off and do your own thing. So at any rate, the description, the URL that we put in the description of the video or the event is always going to take you to that inspiration page. And I'm putting a link right now to the Dulce Vita. I'm actually going to put both links in. To the Dulce Vita. Is that working? It's telling me an error occurred, so I have to see if these are actually going to pop up in your stream where you guys can access it. So yes, I see that there's a link to the Dulce Vita collection. That collection, I think, came out in 2015. There were actually two phases. So one was 2015, one was 2016. And the inspiration behind Dulce Vita was polymer metal clay work and how you get such wonderful impressions. If you've ever worked with polymer metal clay, it's great fun. It's a metal clay that has binders in it and so it behaves like clay. And so you can create textures in it and you can create different shapes. And then you fire it and it burns off the binders and it leaves you metal clay. Or it leaves you metal pieces. So you can get this metal clay in silver and I think not brass. There's another finish. Anyway, it's great fun. And we were very inspired in 2017 or 2015, and we came out with the Dulce Vita collection. So this particular button that I'm going to use, that I used in this bracelet, is that was part of our second phase, and there were a couple of buttons. This one is the 2-hole. And then there was also a shank button. I'm going to throw a link into the comments. Did you guys ever get the... I'm seeing lots of other people pop in. Hello, Emily from Mobile, Alabama. Hello, Janine. Hello, Julie. Hello, Lynn. Hello, Marika. I get very distracted. I start seeing who's here and obviously just like, what was I doing? I have no idea. Okay, there's now a link to the Indulgence bracelet in the comments. And now I'm putting in a link to the buttons, our entire collection of buttons. So you will, lots of stuff to look at. You will find our buttons. We have a good range of 2-hole buttons And I'm going to switch my camera now so that you can see my work surface. And I did pull a whole bunch of our 2-hole buttons that that I will kind of show you later. But right now, what I first want to do, of course, is just demonstrate. One of my lights isn't working properly. So let's show you that again because one of my lights was out. I want to get started on demonstrating this actual design, which was the Indulgence bracelet. And I called it the Indulgence bracelet at the time because, you know, it uses rat tail cord, which is very kind of silky. And then with so many buttons, this design feels very rich. It feels very, I think I used the word sumptuous in my description of my demo today. And it just feels really kind of indulgent on the wrist. So that's how it got its name. So I want to demonstrate first the design with rat tail cord. I have a few colors here, and I'm going to use copper buttons. I need 9 of them, and I also need 2 large hole spacers to accent the tails when we're done. So I have a couple different types here, and I've got, for this bracelet is 7.5 inches long, roughly, and I used a total of 9 buttons. So I've got 9 of my copper buttons. Obviously, if you're going to make a shorter bracelet, you could probably remove a button here, or if you're going to make a longer one, add an extra. Because I chose this lovely copper, I love copper, I have a few different rat tail colors that would go really nice with copper. So I don't know, you guys, help me decide which to use. This kind of fuchsia looks lovely. The bright capri kind of blue looks lovely. This is more of a cornflower blue? I'm not sure. That one looks lovely too. What do you guys think? Give me some votes. And Lynn is saying she loves TierraCast buttons and has a whole stash of them. And if you guys have been watching TierraCast demos for any amount of time, we use buttons a lot in jewelry making. So if you're scrolling through our inspiration section of the website, you'll find earring designs, you'll find necklace designs, you'll find bracelet designs, all using buttons in different ways. We love them. So I don't know, guys. Blue. Yeah, but Lynn and Karen, which blue? The turquoisey blue or the more kind of cornflower blue? I'm getting votes on the color I'm going to use for the demo with the copper. I'm seeing a couple votes. Need some more. Cindy Bolton Lynch says blue too, but you guys still aren't telling me which blue. Shall I just take a stab at? Oh, the bright. All right. Cindy Bolton Lynch says the bright. So I'm interpreting that as this one. All right, that's what we're going with then. So I only need 20 inches of it for the 7.5 inch bracelet. And Cindy, I'm glad. Oh no, Karen says the cornflower. Oh no. All right, well, I've already got the brighter one in my hand, so that's the one I'm going to cut. I need 20 inches. I have a little measuring tape taped to the front of my work table, so I just measured it. Let's get these other ones out of the way. And I also want to get some of this other stuff out of the way so it's not cluttering up our work area, because that can makes the camera have trouble focusing. All right, so I've got my 20 inches of cord. I have 9 buttons. I have 2 spacers. I have a couple different ones here. Let's throw a link. You guys can look at our large hole spacers on the website too. And we have a bunch of different large hole spacers. These 2 are, I think, the most suitable for this design. So I've just got them here. And the other thing I might need a little bit of is obviously scissors and some super glue. And the reason I'm using super glue because it makes working with rat tail, you know how rat tail can fray. My little light went out again, guys. Let's see if I can make it work. I guess that's as good as it's going to get. Note to self, buy some new task lamps. I'm going to put just a little bit of super glue on the ends of my cord, and that will keep them from fraying so much, both while I'm working with it And after the design, I'll probably add some to the ends. There'll be some trimming when we're done, and I'll add a little glue to the ends at that time as well, so that then it won't fray so much. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Patty. Hi. It's so many people popping in, guys. I just love to visit with you. All right, so I've got my 20-inch piece of cord. I've got both ends sealed up with a little bit of super glue. I just like to use a little brush on. And what I'm going to do is thread my cord through one of my buttons. And you can decide that, you know, these 2-hole buttons are concave on one side and convex on the other, you know, curved in and curved out. You can decide which is going to face out. It's totally your decision. So I think with the original design, I faced all of the buttons convex side out. So I threaded my cord then through the concave side and then up and down. And I'm going to take that all the way to the center of my cord. Hello, Leah. So now I've got my button on there, and now I'm just going to tie a little knot, tie a little overhand knot underneath the button to hold that in place. I did, you know, this bracelet goes back a few years. I did read the instructions, so hopefully I will remember how I did it. I'm just using my tweezers to grab the cords right there at the bottom of the button. Like in pearl knotting or bead knotting, just kind of helps you position your knot. But with rat tail, you do have to be a little careful. You know, it snags very easily. So I'm using some sharp nosed tweezers, and it might be better if I was using something not quite as sharp with rat tail. But I got my knot positioned where I want it, and I'm just pulling that tight. So now buttons on, first stage of our project. Here, guys, with that little task lamp that's just not working anymore. All right, so now I'm going to start threading. Another thing I'm going to need to do here is I put a little glue on there, and now I'm going to cut those tips at a little bit of a sharp angle, and that will help me with my threading, because I want to thread both of those ends through one of the buttonholes. And then down through the other buttonhole. And it's a little bit crisscrossed there, but I'm not going to worry about that. If I was going to be fussy, which who am I kidding? I'm going to be fussy. I'm going to fix those so they're not overlapped. All right, and then I'm going to string all these on, and then I'll kind of adjust the placement. So I don't have to worry. Hold on, I'm going to adjust. I have one other light on the other side of my tray. I'm just going to adjust that a little bit, since the one on my right side is not working so good. I'm just going to keep doing that now. I'm going to keep threading on all the buttons. And then I can kind of position them and space them out the way I want them when I've got them all on there. Kimberly's like, yeah, of course you're going to fiddle with it. You know, Kimberly is someone who watches my demos regularly, so she probably knows I'm a little fussy. You know, I'm not saying that I'm like a clean freak or anything, but I do like a tidy house, and I like my work areas to be tidy. My husband has just had to adapt to my ways. I guess I'm like that a little bit with my jewelry design too. If anybody is watching on YouTube, let me know. You know, we've only recently started streaming to both at the same time, both YouTube and our Facebook page. And I would like to make sure that if you're watching from YouTube, that you're able to pop in and comment. Hello, Leslie, how you doing today? Good, I hope. So this is, I wouldn't call this tedious. It's a little repetitive. But you know, if you're in the right frame of mind, it's also very soothing. I don't know about you. There's a lot of people I know, especially people who work with seed beads, who will bead while they're watching TV or otherwise, you know, maybe listening to podcasts and stuff. I'm not so great at that. I have a hard, if I'm at home working on a project and I put the TV on, I lose track. I have to backtrack. I don't keep my place very well in my project. So it doesn't work very well for me. I don't know about you guys. You know, there's a lot to be said for just focusing on the one thing you're doing, right? Not trying to do a million other things. I do have to pull all of these buttons, you know, somewhat close together or I'll run out of cord. So there has to be some positioning while you're weaving the buttons on. But like I said, we'll kind of whoops, I'm going the wrong way. We'll kind of finalize the position before we finish everything up. And if you guys have worked with rat tail before, you can see as I'm weaving how much easier it makes to work with just that little bit of glue on the ends. Otherwise, you know, they'd be getting all frayed by now and it'd be a mess. All right. Gonna need to nudge all these guys up a little closer together to make sure I have enough room on my cord for all my buttons. Feels like it's getting very close. The instructions I wrote, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, do say 20 inches of cord. So we're assuming that I'm going to have enough, right? Sometimes I do go back at instructions I've written and I go, why did I say that? Cindy, I like music to keep me company too. That's fine. I'm not, you know, it's something I can put on and just listen to without having to pay a huge amount of attention. I can handle that. Nearly at the last one. I do love this bright blue with the copper. All right, and it looks like there is enough room. So I've got all my little beads on there. I need to space them out. Now see, I need to adjust, you guys, because I have to tie some knots here, and that's going to take up cord space. So I need to adjust the instructions. I've included 2mm rat tail cord, 20-inch piece. And I'm already noticing that I'm going to have to tie a couple knots for the button loop here. And that's really going to cut me short. So I'm going to change, if you download this project, give me a little bit of time to adjust those instructions. I'm going to change this to maybe 24 inches so that you don't end up struggling with your spacing. You notice I'm trying to just get these spaced out a little bit, trying to get them so that the convex sides are all facing the same direction. A little bit of fussiness. And of course you can position them after as well. It's getting there. Still need a little bit more adjusting. But main thing is right now, so with the 20 inches, I want to make sure that I've got enough room to tie the knots for the buttonhole. So all I need to do is I need to tie one and then a second one that's just big enough for the button that's used as the clasp. That's the first one we strung, is going to fit through. So, let's see. I sabotaged myself with that 20 inches instruction. I've got to have a button loop, so I don't know. I guess I should have actually made one of these yesterday. I did a lot of prep, got all the parts out and stuff, but I didn't actually make one of these. And that would have been the thing to do, because you guys, that's not enough. I don't have enough room for my button loop. So that's tragic. I need at least, maybe even I'll change the instructions to be 26 inches. So that, yeah, Lynn, you could be right. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm looking at comments. Kimberly's saying that Brene Brown just did a podcast on multitasking versus not multitasking. And I'll bet she says, you think you're getting more done, but you're not really. All right, guys, so you can see then how we finish this. We, in theory, have several more inches to work with. So it's quality control. It's so good that every once in a while I go back and work with these designs and go, oh, I need to fix that. But so there'll be a second knot here to create the button loop. And then I have, in theory, I've got tails, and there's enough length there to thread on those little spacers and tie a couple of knots to secure those. So I'm going to adjust. I'll go back into the my content, and I'm going to update this downloadable so that the instructions say, I don't know, you know what? I think Lynn's right. I think we'll just say 30 inches, because rat tail cord is inexpensive, and it's going to be okay if you have to cut off a little extra when you're done. Plus, that way you'll have enough. My bracelet was 30 inches, but if we just make it a blanket, I'm sorry, 7.5 inches. If we make the cord length a blanket 30, that's enough to allow some variation in that. So, all right, let's call this one done. Fail, it's a fail, but I'm not worried about it too much, because I'm going to do another one for you. And I also want to show this fun one. This is not what I'm going to do, but at the time of the launch, I did create a variation of that where I used 4 strands of cord, and I wove them in and out of the button from the top and bottom. And then I used some barrel beads in between to keep the cords together and to give it some shape. So that was a fun variation. I think what I'll do is take a picture of this at some point and add that one also to the inspiration page, because using the cords like that, 4 strands, well, it was 2 strands, and then it was knotted through or threaded through the button and knotted. So then that gave me 4 strands then for the weaving. And then when I got to the end, I just folded them over, and I tucked those ends back through the barrel bead and just crimped it. You can see how I crimped it like mad to secure it. And then because my button loop had so many strands, I just wrapped the end of it with a little bit of craft wire so that it wouldn't be so, you wouldn't be trying to get your button through all those loose strands. It's kind of a tidier button loop. So that's a super fun variation. Lynn says, not a fail. We all learned along with you. Yeah, just cut more than you need. Even if the directions say one thing, just cut more. So what I thought would be fun to do is a mixed mix and match design. So for this one, I want to use some leather cord. I've got 1.5 millimeter, and I think I'll cut, let's see, how much should I cut? I don't know, 30 inches? Let's cut 30 inches of cord. That way, hopefully, you won't run out. There'll be plenty. And Landa, that's an interesting idea. And she's thinking along the lines of salvaging this one where we ran out. She's thinking go back and just remove a button and make it a slightly smaller bracelet. And that could work. You know, I have a fairly small wrist, but certainly there are people with smaller ones. So if I did that, it would fit me. If I removed one button and just left and added another knot, that would fit me. It would be a snug fit, but it would fit me. So if you're making something for someone with a very small wrist, that could be an option. So I've got now what we decided was to cut 30 inches of the 1.5 millimeter leather cord. I've cut my ends at a little bit of an angle, and that will help with the threading, but I don't need to glue it, obviously, because it's not like rat tail. So now I just need to kind of pick some. I really do want to mix and match. So it might be tricky for me to decide which of these to use. We've got some great 2-hole buttons, and I just pulled out, you know, an array of them. I also thought it would be very cool to just make, this is, we call this our tribal button. It's got this beautiful little stippled, I'm trying to see if the camera will focus on that. No, it's not gonna. Too much other stuff in the background. It's got this beautiful little stippled pattern. And I thought it would be fun to just do those in silver with the cord. But I really do want to do a mix and match. So let's see, what else? I need to get a gold one in there. I don't know, guys. Can I do this? I'm not sure that the bright gold mixes as well. So I might skip the bright gold and just stick with the brass and the more muted, the pewter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go for 9. One more copper, maybe. Go with that one. Kind of like that. I am trying to stay in the spirit of it and really just let it be mix and match. So I need to choose one for the end. I think I'll choose the this leaf button in the brass. And again, I'm going to string that on and bring it all the way to the center. And secure that with a knot underneath. And the holes for our 2-hole buttons, we intentionally made them roomy. We wanted, you know, when we did a whole group of buttons a few years ago. We did a button of the month. You know, we've always had buttons in our product line, but we wanted to add a bunch. So we did a button of the month program one year, and that was fun. And it added, obviously, like 12 buttons to our line. And I actually kind of forgot where I was going with that. I was going to go somewhere in terms of the design, and then I got sidetracked with the button of the month thing. Anyway, we got our leaf button, and now I'm just going to start stringing these other buttons on. Oh, I was talking about the hole sizes. That's what it was. We very intentionally, because, you know, when we were making our 2-hole buttons, we wanted people to be able to use them with different cords. So we made them with roomy holes. So they are roughly will fit like a, I'm looking for my awl. They'll fit 2mm cord easily. And, you know, even more. You saw that I used my awl there to just make a little bit of room so that I could get that threaded on. You can probably also try this with a 1mm cord. That would probably work very well too. I am going to make an effort to not get my cords too twisted while I'm doing this. But that might be overrated. We'll see how it goes. So the awl is helpful here, just to make a little room to tuck that second cord through. And just keep going. Good morning, Pamela. Lynn Carling is saying she made blossom bracelet design. The blossom wrap, Lynn? Is that what you're talking about? I will have to look for that. Yeah, I did demo that a couple of weeks ago in the Great Bead Extravaganza bead event that we had at the beginning of April. So yeah, this is going to be the slow, kind of tedious thing. So you guys will have to chat. Think of a prompt. You know, with our Facebook page, you guys are always welcome to share designs, post pictures actually on our Facebook page, or tag us on Instagram. We love to see that. So just know that if you post something, I might share it. It depends on what else I got going on the content schedule, but I might share something if you share it. If you share it with us, I might share it with everyone. So yeah, when you do designs that have tiara cast stuff, let us know. Either post it on our Facebook page or put it on Instagram and tag us. And you can just tag us on Facebook too. Put it on your own page and just see if you can tag us. I forget if you can tag businesses. Sometimes it seems like you can't do that, but you can try. Maybe this design, I'll use maybe one fewer button just so that there's a little more room for the leather to show. We'll see how it looks when we get to that point. Obviously, this one is going to have a much more rustic feel than the rat tail cord one. Hello, Lisa Darby. She says she's a newbie, and welcome. I do mean you're just new to watching tiara cast demos, or are you new to jewelry making? Or tell us. I like the way this is looking. I don't think I ever demoed this, but I've talked about it on demos before. We have a necklace design on our inspiration pages that's all buttons and leather cord. It's kind of, I've forgotten now what I call it, but it's kind of an impressive, maybe I just called it the button bib bracelet. You guys should look for that because it's kind of a crazy use. It's the same idea here with just 2-hole buttons, and they're threaded onto leather cord, and they're made in, and there's I don't even know how many of them on the necklace. There's many. And it makes a rather kind of stunning, very rustic statement necklace. It's a pretty fun design. Got this one upside down. Let's fix it. But yeah, look for that. I know that I have not demoed that design, but I have certainly talked about it with other button, when I've done other button jewelry demonstrations. I'm feeling a little more confident in the amount of cord that I cut. It's going to work much better. Maybe when I did this, wrote the instructions for this, maybe that was just a typo. Maybe I really meant all along to say 30 inches of cord, and I didn't. As I'm going along, I think I said something at the beginning of this particular one that I wanted to try to keep my leather cord from getting all twisted. And I am making an effort to do that. As I put each button on, I'm straightening the cords and making sure that they're all going to sit. Again, I'm going concave side up on this one. No, I'm sorry, convex side up with the bracelet. And I am making an effort to make sure that my cords are straight, and so that my buttons will sit next to each other nicely without being all twisty. And so yeah, so that the right sides are facing upwards. I've got my buttons a little bit out of whack here. I think I need another silver. I've got 2 brass ones at the end, which is really not what I want. So I think I'm going to end with another silver, maybe this one. Yeah. Are you sure you measured 20 inches? I did, Randy. If you were here for the whole thing, I measured 20 inches for that rat tail version, and it was not enough. So I'm going to fix that. You guys, please go and download the project sheet, but give me a little bit of time to correct it. I'll have it fixed up by this afternoon. Matter of fact, maybe I'll post okay, here's what I'll do. When I'm done with this design, you know how I sometimes post a picture of the variations that we do in a demo. So I'll make a picture post of this, and at that time, I won't do that until I have those instructions fixed. So when you guys see that, and I'll say it in the post, when you guys see that post, you'll know that I got that fixed. It's getting there. Right, Nabila is saying that she's recalling that button necklace and that I wore it once in a demo. That's right, I did. And oh boy, that necklace gets some attention. I remember that now, I'd forgotten. Is that I was, when we started this demo, I was talking about how kind of luxurious that the design feels to wear, kind of feels very rich. And that necklace also that necklace is a very kind of rich feeling thing to wear. And I don't mean rich money, I mean rich, the feel, I'm just going to use the word sumptuous again. Kind of like that word anyway. Debbie is just joining. Let's see. I'm going to post a link to the necklace. Give me a sec, guys. I'll pull that up on the website, which just means down here is going to be dead space for a second. But it'll only take me a minute to find it. Let's see. Ah, where is it? There it is. All right, link coming to that necklace. Let's see. Somebody asked a question. Oh, Debbie Johnson, just joining. What's happening? Debbie, we're doing a demo of what I call my Indulgence bracelet. It's made with 2-hole buttons and rat tail cord. It's an old design. We did it several years ago. And so we were demoing a variation of that and discovered that the length of cord that I indicated on the instructions on the page and also on the downloadable is too short unless you have a very small wrist. So I'm going to fix that in the on the project page and on the downloadables. So if you guys want to go and download that, I'll have it fixed. If you download it now and it says cut 20 inches, just don't do that. Just give yourself more cord. And then someone just popped in and is saying hello from Puerto Rico. Artisan Vera. Ah, thank you. Nice. Thank you for the kind words, Artisan Vera. Vero or Vera? Vero. And she's watching on YouTube. Thank you. We do love to hear that we do actually inspire people and they make stuff that we show. And that's kind of our MO. This would definitely be easier with a 1 millimeter cord as opposed to this 1.5. But I also wonder how one of the keys to this design is that whatever cord you use, you want it to be a tight enough fit where the buttons will stay in place. You don't want the buttons sliding around and I mean, maybe it wouldn't be a big deal, but a thicker cord will keep them in place better. How are we doing? How did I get that one so tight next to that first one? I think these little shell buttons, maybe the hole, the 2 holes are slightly smaller than some of the other ones. I think that's what's happening here. Because it feels tighter and I'm having to work a little bit harder to get it adjusted. All right, so I have flip them all so they're facing the right direction. I have my button that's going to function as a clasp, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do think it needs at least one more. So this will be the last one, I think. I did wonder about, a lot of people who are crafty, and I'll bet many of you are the same. You have a tin or a jar or a box of buttons, right? And I did wonder about, okay, did you guys notice how easily this one's strung compared to this one? I think I'm right. That little swirl button, the holes are slightly smaller because this one has bigger holes, and it was super easy to string on. Okay. It's looking good. I could go and I could be a little bit more fussy about some of the spacing. At this point with this one, I would want to decide, well, with any of the versions, I would want to decide what my overall bracelet length is going to be. Imagine that this is going to be right about where the button loop is, and you're going to thread that, and you're going to pop that button through the button loop. That's a pretty nice size bracelet. It would fit me a little bit loose, which could be totally okay for this kind of bracelet. But this is where you would decide, okay, if you want this a little longer, maybe you would spread your buttons out and space them out a little bit more. Or if you need it a little bit smaller, then you would tuck everything a little bit closer. I think right now this one is a really good size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We did end up using the same number of buttons as the original. So now I've got this last button on, and I'm going to tie an overhand knot right underneath that button, that final button. Oh, Randy says she has a lot of old buttons, but mostly shank buttons. And I had started talking about, I was considering going through my stash of buttons and looking for 2-hole buttons that you might be able to do this. But I think that with like commercial buttons intended for sewing, I think that the hole is just going to be too small. So I don't think that I really would have had much success looking for vintage buttons and doing this project. I don't think it would have worked, but ours worked great. So now I've tied the knot after the final button, and now I'm making my button loop. So I just want to make sure that I have enough room for that to fit. Feels okay, and then I can tighten that. Feels like a good size button loop. And as you can see, since we started with 30 inches of cord, we have plenty left to play with. Nice, huh? Bonus. So now, originally with that original design, what I had intended to do was the last step would have been to string on a couple of little spacers. And you can actually string on several if you wanted. Matter of fact, why don't we? Just for the fun of it. I had 2 different types of spacers out for embellishing those tails, and I'll just use them both on this one. We could mix the metals here with those little spacers like we did with the buttons, but I've got the copper here handy, so that's what I'll use. And that 30 inches is being just enough for really having enough to work with. Yeah, Charlene is saying she has a ton of buttons. Yeah, I do think it would be a long shot to get to find like traditional or vintage 2-hole buttons that would have big enough cords. You'd have to probably really be selective with whatever cord you use. With these final buttons, it would probably not be a terrible idea to put a little bit of glue, because this is the one knot. I'm sorry, I said buttons, but I meant knot. If this knot comes open, accidentally, you're going to lose your spacer beads. So wouldn't be a terrible idea to put a little bit of glue in those knots. The other ones you don't need to. So that's it. That's our mix and match version. I like it. I will take a picture of this and get it up on the website this afternoon, and I'll get those corrections made to the inspiration page. And I think I said I would also take a picture of this one. So I might do that too. Although that one on the website is going to need some explaining. It won't just be obvious, how that one is done. We'll see. We'll see, guys. All right. I'm pleased with the mix and match one. I really like it very much. So I'll get a picture of that posted. All right, let's switch my camera back. Here we are. Hello again. Landa, thanks. I think they're great. I think that using the buttons like that in this kind of rustic, chunky bracelet is really fun. So Charlene says she missed a lot, but you know, these will just live on our YouTube page and also on our Facebook page, Charlene, so you can watch it again. And I'll also upload it to the inspiration page. Matter of fact, that's part of the updating that I will do today is this video. I'll link to it from within the inspiration page on the website. So you always would be able to find it. Leah's wondering if Softflex would work with vintage buttons. That's a nice idea, Leah, because they have those beautiful colors and with the smaller holes on the vintage buttons. That's an intriguing thought. It would be great fun if someone did that and then posted a picture, right? Okay. All right, everybody. I don't know yet what I'll be doing next week, but watch for that. I usually post that info on Saturday. And I do have a fun event coming up next week. I'm teaching one of the classes in Jesse James Beads' spring jewelry workshop. What are they calling it? Beads and Blooms. So I'm doing that next week on the 4th, but it's a workshop. So I don't know if there are any tickets available left for that. And at this point, it might be late for people to get their kits, but that's just a fun event that's coming up for me. And but also in the meantime, I'll figure out a demo for next Tuesday, and hopefully I will see all of you. So thank you guys for joining me, and watch for my update post later today, and I'll see you next week. Bye.